Solomon said in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, he said, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Then the second verse, he says there is a time to be born. Now that's the beginning of a thing. The time. There is a time to give birth to a business. There is a kairos. Some people have missed that opportune time to launch out with their visions, to launch out with their dreams. There is a time to be born, and there is a time to die. Now, to be able, you see, a lot of people prepare to start a thing but do not prepare to finish it. We pay so much attention to preparing to start a thing. Little do we pay attention to preparing to finish something. Many times in Africa, we have leaders who do not raise their successors. You see, they believe that they have the advantage of time, and so that they are going to keep on doing this thing. But one thing that you must be able to accept is that if you have been born, you shall die. And so, if you shall die, it makes sense that you prepare to die. Tell your neighbor, prepare to die. This is something you don't hear in African churches, because we bind and cast death a lot. As a matter of fact, the fact that you will die should keep you on your toes. Now, not to pray against death, let me say this to you. What we call long life, again, is nothing compared to eternity. When God sees what we are praying for here as long life, he laughs. Because you need to hear from a man like Methuselah. Someone was giving birth around 400 years old. Probably taking more wives at 500. Floating extra businesses at 750. I'm not calling money figures, I'm calling someone's age. Then someone today truly trusts God for 95 years as long life. Adam was almost 1,000 years. These all died, irrespective of how long we believe they lived and scripture said they lived. If you have 90 years on earth and you have blown 20 successfully, don't you think as fast as you blew 20 is also as fast as you blew the next phase of 20? And then before you know what's going on, you are 80 now. What you have left is 10. One more decade. As we prepare to live, we must also prepare to live. You will not always be a teenager. You will not always be 20. If you're 20 something now, you are here now. And it happened as though you slept yesterday, a year old, and now you are 25, a day after. Have you prepared to die? You're praying against death. There is no prayer point that harvests the voices of believers like the prayer against death. We just want to live as long as possible, even though uselessly. There is a time to die. And let me say this to every one of us. We will all come to that very moment of death. because the scripture spells it out. There is a time to be born and a time to die. You see, you know your birth date, but you don't know your death date. And this is why you have to be very up and doing. Because you can't say, you know what month and day you will celebrate your birthday next year, right? Hello? Do you know what month and day you will die? Wise men don't just talk about life, they talk about death. It's in discussing death that you really give yourself to planning. Because, you see, you need to make it better for the one who would take over from you than it was made for you by the one whom you took over from. Your parents planned for you to be here. You didn't plan to be here, I hope you know. They planned for you to be here. They got married, and then they consummated the marriage. Your mom took in with you, and now you are here. You know you can't go back again, right? You can't go back. The fact that when you are born, if you don't like the experience, you can't go back is something to think about. Because you see, man was not designed to withdraw from challenges. That's the reason when you are born, once you show up and realize, even if you don't like the hospital in which you were born, the struggle has started. You can't go back again and say, hey, I don't. Maybe you go back and say, I want to be born in Canada. I didn't plan to be born in Nigeria, in Ajegunle, in Makoko, in Okpoko. I didn't plan to be born here. You have been born into that experience because you have the capacity to overcome it. God does not introduce darkness into darkness. God introduces light into darkness. If you have been successfully born into that kind of family, believe me when I tell you that you are wired with all the devices and components that can overcome the experiences that you have been born into in that home. If you are born into a home where your parents are beating themselves up, you have within you the capacity to change that story. But it's not always so for some persons. They hated that their fathers hit their mothers. They marry women that they end up hitting. The reason is simple. There are no new devils. Whatever your father is fighting with, you will fight with. If it's already late, if you fought with it, get ready to fight with it. Some humans are chronic womanizers. You know, it looks as though it's a new experience in their space. If you look well, if you study. Because the past predicts the future. Some of the things you call your personal struggles, if you should investigate your parents well, they had the same struggle. It doesn't matter how unique that struggle is. You have not yet talked with people who had a past before you were born. Because you see, your past is not the same as your dad's past. He lived before you came, and as you came, both of you started living in a present that will make up for you both's past. But before you both met in a certain present to create a past together, he had his own past that you did not witness.